In this video, I'm going to show you how to make an animated explainer video right inside Davinci Resolve. Now, we're going to be using the Whiteboard Explainer template from BlueFx for this, and you can follow along. Let me show you exactly what we're going to do together. So we're going to make a quick story like this.
Hello, this is Joe. Joe runs his own business selling local goods. But Joe has a big problem. He's got too much to do, and he can't find qualified help.
Now, this is a quick one. We're going to do this together. And at the end, I'm also going to show you how you can add this write-on effect to your videos. So in the download zip file of the Whiteboard Explainer template, you'll find a couple of folders. The one that you need to use for Davinci Resolve is the one called Universal. I'm going to start with the pre-built story number 1, just the Joe story, to open that one up. And first off, I'm going to just select everything and I'm going to just drag and drop them to my Davinci Resolve timeline. And there's also something called a simple white background. If you're opening up Davinci Resolve and if it looks like this, then just click here on the edit panel. Okay, just gotta make sure that you click on the edit panel, otherwise it's gonna look completely different for you. Edit panel. First off, when you make an explainer video, the first thing that you gotta do in an animated video is to animate and time everything to your audio. So we're gonna just drag that to our timeline. I'm gonna zoom in like this here and let's take a listen.
Hello, this is Joe.
Perfect. Now the second thing that we want to add is the white background. I prepared for you this white background and you can just extend it until here, until the end. Now the next part is adding the text and adding the sketches. Let's start with adding a text. Now, I'm going to assume that you're completely new to Davinci Resolve, so let me show you how to add a text, a title. So first off, click on Effects, click on the Effects panel, make sure that that's white, then click on Titles, and after that you'll be able to select something called Basic Text. Now drag this basic text and drag it down here into your project panel. And as you can see, it made a new layer for you. Now, the thing with this is that we have a white background and the text is white. So I'm going to just turn off the white background for a second so you can see the text. Here's the text. Now, let's start playing with the text. Select the text layer and go to the right side and make sure that here we have selected video. Select the text layer and click on title. So make sure that here you are on video and on title. When you select that, you'll be able to edit the text. And I'm going to just write in like this. Now the next part is that we want this text to look like it has been written by hand. So the easiest way to do that is if you select Comic Sans. Now the next part is that you want the text to be obviously not white because your background is white. So we're going to make this black. Click OK. And now the text disappeared. So we're going to put back on the white background. Awesome, we have our first text. Now let's make the size a little bigger. Hello, something like this. The next part with the text is that you want to make an animation. Now I want to show you a really cool trick on how to make animation super easy inside Davinci Resolve. So we don't mess around with keyframes, with none of that. You just drag and drop an animation. Let me show you how that works. Now we go to Effects, then you go to Video Transitions. Just click on Video Transitions and scroll down a little bit until you'll find the motion effects that one of them is called Push. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna click on this and hold the push animation and drag and drop it onto our text layer. And you'll see that it's creating this a quick white box here. I'm gonna zoom in so you see the white box. You see it's pretty simple. You can play with this animation easily with, like this.
This is Joe.
Okay, now
hello, this is Joe.
Obviously, let's tune this up. I'm gonna show you a very important step when it comes to animation inside Davinci. So what we want is this to happen faster. It's first off, it's too slow.
Hello, this
just a little bit faster.
Hello.
This is already good. So we have the timing right. Next, I want it to look more, there's something called ease in and ease out. It will make your movements look more realistic, more dynamic.
Hello.
You see it has a little bit of, it has acceleration, deceleration. Next, there's something called motion blur effect, because it should blur things a little bit. When things are in motion, they should look blurry like this, right? That's how things should look. So that's why we add a little bit of motion blur. And don't worry, we only need to set this once. I'm gonna create a preset for this, so every time you'll need an animation from now on, all you got to do is just copy paste, just drag and drop an animation. You don't have to mess around with all this stuff that we just set up. So click here, make sure that you're clicking on the white little box that's the transition. Right click, and here you got something called create transition preset. So click on that, and we're gonna call this push preset 1, just so we know that what this is. I'm gonna hit OK. And now if you scroll down, you'll find something in the user, here in the user part, that it created a push preset 1. Now all the presets that you'll create will be added here, but this one is enough. So how do we animate out things? Well, take a look. Now it's just drag and dropping your brand new animation preset here. If you drag it at the end of the layer, it will animate out. If you drag it at the beginning, it will animate in. Pretty simple.
Hello, this is Joe.
You see the text is going out to the right side, but you can change this easily just by selecting the animation, and you can go here to transition. It automatically is being selected, and click on preset. It can go up, left, right, up, down. So let's make this go up. Let's see how this will look.
Hello, this is Joe.
Perfect. This is what we want. So now we're gonna add in our next character, our first character actually. This is Joe. This is Joe. Now let me show you what not to do. Don't drag the character to the timeline here, because then it's gonna cut on one of your previous layers and it's gonna just mess things up. Let's Control Z, let's undo that. So whenever you drag a sketch, an image, a character, a video, drag it here to the timeline where you have all the layers. Drag it here like that. Now let's select the layer, because we're gonna scale it down a little bit. Now you see I cannot move this around, which is very strange. So when you're opening up first time Davinci Resolve, there's also another setting that you should set up. Click on the transform property and make sure that this little square box is white. So you can select from here a lot of stuff, but we want to select only transform, and this transform property should be on, so it should be white. And then you find these little white boxes, and then you can drag the image with the mouse like this. Now let me show you something really cool. Let's go back to the effects, and remember we just created this push effect. Guess what? It will also work on our characters. Let me select it, and you want to add it to the beginning of your character layer. Let's see how this will look.
This is Joe.
Boom! And you don't have to mess around with keyframes, you don't have to mess around with settings, timing, everything is all done. Let's see how this looks.
Hello, this is Joe.
Now,
this is Joe. This is Joe.
You see how, let me show you another trick, because the first time you start using Davinci Resolve, you'll notice that
Hello, this is Joe.
On some transitions, depending on your machine, you might see that it's jumping a little bit, it's jumping frames. So for that, the first thing that you should set up is your your playback speed, playback quality actually. So go to playback, click on playback, and then you have something called timeline proxy mode, and here click on half resolution. So once you click that, you see now,
this is Joe.
You see the animation is already fluid. It's no longer jumping frames, which is important, because we want to see how things look actually.
This is Joe.
I mean, this looks already good. It looks so good. I like it. Now let's add in another text. Now let me show you how to add text. Well, we could go again to titles and just drag the title in and so on, but then you would need to set up the font and everything again. So the easiest way to do the text is just to duplicate the text that you already done, because you want to have consistency. You say you should use only one font in one video. You could duplicate any layer. The easiest way to do that is to hold down the Alt key on your keyboard and just drag that layer. Boom, and it duplicated it. You see? Really simple. And the cool part is that we also have the animations on it, so we don't have to mess around with the animations again.
This is Joe.
And this is Joe. Now I want here the "This is Joe" text up. Let me show you something. I'm gonna just drag the, where is this? Just make a little bit more space here. Right click and let's add a track. And we can just move this up, drag this up so it's at the top of the layer. Now right now it says hello. Of course we want to change this to "This is return Joe." Simple stuff can make things look really good. So I'm gonna change the size of the "this is" phrase so it looks something like this. And what I want is the Joe phrase. So look, if I'm selecting the Joe phrase, I mean, if I'm selecting the second phrase here, I can change the size of it. Let's see. I can change the size of it in two ways. By dragging this little dot or by dragging the number. So if you hold your mouse over the number, you'll be able to drag the number and it's going to give you a much more precise way of changing these parameters. So I always recommend drag here at the number part. Next, you see now it kind of looks good, but there's so much space here. How can we change that? You need to select the first line and change the line spacing. Okay, you can see now we reduced the distance between the two lines. And now for positioning text, I recommend that you use these parameters here, X and Y. Where should this be? This looks good. Now, I recommend that you don't use too many colors because it is a Whiteboard Explainer template. The Whiteboard Explainer style should be minimalistic. That's the key of it. That's why it's so efficient. But I do like to use the color black, white, and red. So let's select Joe and click on color and then click on a red color. And now already this is looking good. Let's put Joe a little closer. Oh yes, he is Joe. And now take a look. Because we duplicated this layer, the text layer, we also have the animations here working. So
Joe runs his own. This is Joe.
Now the text should of course appear at the same time.
This is Joe.
Now what I would like here is that, by the way, I'm using my forward and backward arrow keys on my keyboard. Now what I would like here is that the text comes from the right side and Joe comes from the left side. Would look cool. Now how can we achieve that? Let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to zoom in. You see we have here this transition box. Select that. And then what you want to do is you have here something called a preset, and push left, we want it push right. So now it's automatically changed.
This is Joe.
Bam. And that I just love. I gotta say, I just love Davinci Resolve.
This is Joe.
Isn't that simple? So now let me show you a really cool animation, because we are doing Whiteboard Explainers, Whiteboard animations, so we want to add some hands. Now the first step is that you want to import two files. Now let me show you. First go into the hands animations, click on the drawer and the dragger hand, and now just import these two hand animations into your media media pool. Okay, now we can see here two animations. One is the hand drawer and the other one is the hand dragger. Basically, how to use them: one of them is going to push stuff up, the other one is going to write stuff. Now, on shorter animations where you don't have a lot of time to write things out and so on, you want the pusher, because that's going to push things quickly. So in this case, we have our next phrase, which is
Joe runs his own business selling local goods.
Joe runs his own business. Okay, for that I'm going to use this character right here. Let's add this one. Let's make him a bit smaller like this. So let's add now the dragger hand. So I'm gonna add this over our character, and let's take a look at how this will look. Now, as you can see, the hand is going up. It reaches a top position, and then it's gonna go back. And what I want is, of course, let's make this hand bigger because it's just way too small. Let's move it down. Okay, and what I want is basically I want to hide the character underneath the hand. So where is our character? And I want the character to be smaller. First of all, let's make him smaller. We don't need to keep our character that small. We just need to make him smaller at the beginning. Okay, and now let's cut the character. So basically I don't want the character to show before the hand goes up. Now let's take a look at how this will look.
Joe runs his own business selling local goods.
Okay, this is already good. Now what I want is that as soon as the hand places our character scales up. And at this point I'm going to add a keyframe here in the zoom property. And how to do that? Just click this diamond shape, and now at this point the zoom is gonna be this amount. Now if we go a bit further, and at this point I want the zoom to be like this.
Joe runs his own business selling local goods.
It looks good. I'm gonna add some text here, and I'm gonna just copy my old text by dragging it with holding down Alt and dragging it here. Boom. Now of course we're going to change the text. Click on title, and then I'm going to type in my text. Now that I have added my new text and I've set up the text how it should look, now of course I'm going to set up also the animation for it. And now we're going to make this smaller, add an outro animation. And now it's time to add our next cool animation. So the next animation is gonna be using our drawing effect. So I'm gonna add my next one here, like this. Let's make him smaller. Let's move him here. Now, to understand how this next animation works, I'm gonna just, for a second, I'm gonna turn off our background. And let's just drop in the drawer, the hand drawer animation. And this must stay over our character. So this is how this works. It makes this white thing, and this white thing will reveal our character. So let's make that, you gotta scale this up a bit so it covers our entire character. Maybe just a little bit bigger. By the way, you can change your view here, bigger, smaller, whatever is right for you. Good. Now let's take a look at how this will look.
He's got too much to do and he can't find qualified help.
Now as you see, it reveals our character. Now when I turn back the background, the effect will look really good.
Joe has a big problem. He's got too much to do and he can't find qualified help.
Let's add the next two characters. here. Let's add them like this. And the red X animation is gonna just add a red X over any layer. And let me show you how that works. I'm gonna just drag this hand over what we need. I'm gonna scale this up a bit, and I want the hand to also cross the other animation. So I'm gonna duplicate the hand by alt dragging it up. Okay, now you're probably not seeing much because we are too zoomed out. So the hand makes the drawing. Now what you can do is you can just simply fade in these two characters, or you can of course go to effects and you can use this push effect on them like this. And let's see how that's gonna look. And of course you want it from the other side, from the right side, to come in. Push right.
They can't find qualified help.
And this looks good. Now this is gonna look really good.
Hello, this is Joe. Joe runs his own business selling local goods. But Joe has a big problem. He's got too much to do, and he can't find qualified help.
Now, as you see, we could continue like this and create new stories, and you can create as many stories as you wish. Now, of course, this is just a quick sample. You're gonna have over 400 sketches, for 400 animations, 400 images that you can play with in the Whiteboard Explainer, and you can make any story that you like. You have seen animation is drag and drop. The hands can be added in, and you can make really awesome explainer video stories right inside Davinci Resolve with the BlueFx Whiteboard Explainer template. Now, you might be wondering, can you add your own image? Of course you can. The way I've added my image, you can add your own image. You can just drag stuff in. Everything is going to work exactly the same. So with that said, I want to thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and click like, because we really want to make sure that you don't miss out on any of the new templates and new videos that we release. And yeah, by the way, if you don't have this template, by all means, go ahead and check it out. It's a really, really good template. We've been updating it. We've been working on this for many years. So all you got to do to check it out is just to click in the link that I've added into the description of this video. Now, with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.